Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's program. Um, for those who don't know me, my name is Aisha Dixon. I'm the director of the UCLA Emeriti Retiree Relations Center. And today we have a great kind of dialogue today. There's no real, I shouldn't say agenda, but we have a new general manager at the Faculty Club on campus. So today's kind of just like a meet and greet for those who have not had a chance to meet her and get to know more about the partnership that UCLA does with its retirees. So just a little bit about us and our department. We are the on-campus liaison for faculty and staff retirees. We do campus engagement, post-retirement, and pre-retirement workshops and planning and events. Our goal is to be this interconnected resource for all retired faculty and staff so that when they want to come back to campus for events, whether it's wellness, financial responsibility, volunteering, or just socially hanging out at various places on campus, we are the go-to place for that. We have about 18,000 retired faculty and staff. That includes next of kin survivors, beneficiaries, those who just want to be able to stay connected once their loved one is either passed away or retired. We also have other retirement centers throughout the UC system. I am proud to say we are the largest, but Berkeley is close to on our heels, followed by Davis and Irvine. So as I mentioned, this is going to be an open dialogue. Feel free to type questions in the chat that you may have about the faculty club and our relationship with them. But without further ado, Andrea, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and coming back to UCLA?
Sure. So some of you know my story, but yes, I was a cultural anthropology major in undergrad, graduated back in 92, and I left UCLA and kind of didn't know really what I was going to do with my degree, and I wasn't really exploring higher education at the time. And so I started working in a private club. And what turned out to be a 25-year career at that club through advancing as well. I left there as the assistant general manager, and then went to the California club where I came from most recently, was there for 6 years as the assistant general manager as well. Had made a decision to make a lateral move because they were two very different clubs. One was very recreational, family oriented, and the other was a city-based club, and so much more food and beverage and dining experience, which is where I really feel like I strengthened my knowledge in food and beverage. When this advertisement came out, I did not even know that there was a club for the faculty on campus. And so I was thrilled to apply and was had envisioned from the moment I applied that I would be the manager here because I thought it would be a great fit, not only to be a Bruin alumni, but also to have all the club experience that I've engaged in. And over the past 30 years, been heavily involved in our National Association for Club Management, as well as have done speaking engagements around the country and used to consult on some aspects of club management, in particular, how to develop family and youth programming at clubs, which was something that was we were kind of dawning on the revolution of it when golf was declining back in the 90s. And now clubs have all these amenities for families and spa and fitness and things like that. So, but this was a great move for me because I consider the faculty club a city club in itself. We don't have the recreational facilities as far as tennis or golf or swimming. So it's mostly dining and member relations and social events. So it's right up my alley. I love planning private events and events for our club members, and we just had one that went over really well. And I like to see more of that. I'm particularly interested in learning about the Emeriti as well as some other, organizations that the club has been built upon. I know that the Emeriti birthed pretty much the faculty club. So One of the things I know that I'm remiss in is getting a renewed contract to you regarding planning events here. And I've just been studying kind of the spending pattern of the Emeriti as well as the Faculty Women's Club to see if there's a way we could package some things to make the planning of your events easier and more streamlined, as well as affordable for your association, but as well as profitable for us. So that's something that I could actually go over today with, because I've been looking at the numbers. But I am mostly interested in knowing how we can build a relationship. I feel that we should celebrate the Emeriti Association at the Faculty Club however we can, and to build a really strong relationship. I know that coming out of COVID, then there was construction. The club has been shuttered for some time, and reopening has been like a kind of waking up from a dream of picking up where we left off. But I'm also here to help push the club forward into the future and what that entails with, as far as our relationships go with Emeriti Faculty Club and the other affiliated associations that the club does business with or partners with. So that's a little bit about me. I am thrilled to be here. I'm in my third month. It feels like I've been here a little bit longer, but it's been so enjoyable. The staff are amazing, and the facility is just up my alley. It kind of looks like the first club I came from. It's about the same size and square footage. I love the beautiful windows that we have and the indoor-outdoor feeling that the club brings to the spaces. And so it's very much aligned with my aesthetic appreciation, as well as it's a nice size space for me. And I hope to build the relationships with all the members and the staff. Yeah. So I don't see any questions, but
I have
yeah.
a question. Leave it to
Hi.
me, right? I'm Elaine Fox, the immediate past president of the Retirees Association, and I'm coming from a naive perspective. When I was on staff so many years ago, I've been retired for 17 years, there were only certain levels of staff that were able to become members of the faculty club. And then probably about 10, 12 years ago, there was an opening so that retirees could join. And so I'm a retiree from Anderson, and I've joined the faculty club at that time. You mentioned a contract with the Faculty Women's Club and the Emeriti. Is there any consideration for the retirees as well, or is it just a contract with the ERRC, and because we're members of the ERRC, then we would become eligible?
I think part of it is the history that the Emeriti Association and then the Faculty Women's Club have had with the Faculty Club is the reason why there is some sort of negotiation between the two, as far as providing benefits at an economic rate. I am happy to discuss partnering with the Retirees Association, especially because I know that the two are blending efforts now to gain efficiencies in the attendance to your events. So I think it's definitely worth the discussion, because the Emeriti are the ones kind of getting the benefits, but I do know that the retirees have been joining in on the meetings and also enjoying the benefits of some of the agreement that the club has had with the Emeriti. So it might be nice to actually revisit it as a whole, so that everyone can benefit from it. I'm certainly into creating the most streamlined way of being able to plan things here, so that there's no question or haggling or negotiations that need to happen. So I think we should definitely address it. Yes.
Judith, please put that on your agenda then.
Okay.
That was on my
Thank
agenda,
you.
that question, and it's really
Thank you.
nice to meet you, Andrea.
Thank you.
I just want to say it's my sense in going to the faculty club lately that it's a lot busier. So I don't know if that that's my observation. But in
I
any
think
event,
it's picking up, yes. I think part of that is just getting the word out that we're open again. I think there had been some question over the last year as far as that I'm trying to do a little bit more efforts in marketing our events and just keeping positive pressure on the presence that we have. So I think that's helping. I also think that I'm working really closely with the staff to provide an atmosphere of welcoming and making people feel, like they belong and it's a special place. And I think that goes a long way, because when people walk in, they feel like they're greeted and they feel like they're treated well, and then they spread the word that it's a nice, comfortable place to be. I think that helps to grow the business as
so
well.
so here's my question that I wanted to ask you, or what I want my other observation, which was that historically in the past, the Retirees Association has used the faculty club. For example, for many years, they did an annual November arts and crafts show, which was always held in here.
Mhm.
We're starting to have our holiday party there. So it's not just events that we do in conjunction with the Emeriti. We do joint events with them, like after lunch program, for example, but we have done numerous events over the past years on our own with the faculty club. So exploring what a relationship might mean would be really wonderful for us. And the second observation I would love to make is that it would be great, for example, when we do the after lunch program, or when we do the not the holiday party, the EA art show, it would be great if somehow we could promote it within the faculty club during the event itself. What we used to do when I was chair of the art show was I used to go around and announce or put flyers on the table, postcards on the tables, letting everybody know, because we rely on foot traffic to give the artists the greatest exposure to a public audience, which is why we're doing the show in the first place, to showcase their talent. So if we could explore ways in which we might coordinate and promote activities that we do that would benefit from people that are in the club coming, that would be wonderful from my perspective.
I think that would be a lovely thing to do. I think in exchange, I was thinking about how there's a couple things. One, to join the Emeriti Association is very, very inexpensive. For an Emeriti to join the faculty club, it's a little bit more expensive because we have monthly dues, which also could be paid annually at a slight discount. But the disparity between the two makes it so that we're also not getting a lot of Emeriti as members. And I'm wondering if we could revisit the dues structure in general, where if one belonged to one, they could automatically belong to the other. The problem is, if they automatically belong to the faculty club, if they belong to the Emeriti, that's asking people to now pay 35 or 25 a month. So it significantly increases their expenses. And I'm totally aware of not, why people wouldn't want that. But I'm wondering if there's a way we could further partnership so that we could garner some of the Emeriti memberships here, and that would also be of fair exchange to help advertise and promote any of your events, especially if they're being held at the faculty club. So this is the partnership that I think would be a really wonderful way to help one another, where we could promote your events and then also host them here. But also, how do we, because you have such a large member base compared to how many Emeriti we have here as members. But I think part of it's because it's very economical to join the Emeriti, but then it's less so to belong to the faculty club. And of course, I'm trying to create value as to why it's worth paying extra or more to belong to the faculty club. But I'm wondering if there's a way to be able to have more emeriti as members of the faculty club. Al, were you going to say something in response to that?
Yeah. First of all, why do we call it retirees rather than emeriti and retirees? Because that, I think, is a major point. So we're all retirees. I think when we talk about the emeriti, we have to remember the emeriti were the founding members of the
Right.
club and gave financially. That is why both the Faculty Women's Club, so that's
Okay.
there. I think we need to also be realistic because so many of our retirees, and I'm doing that inclusive about faculty and staff, don't live close enough to campus to use it all the time. Also, over the years, it's unfortunate, some of us tried to change the name of the faculty club to the university club. So current staff, as well as retirees, don't think of the faculty club as being accessible to them. The reason I bring these things up, I think it would be worthwhile. We have a newsletter, perhaps an article in the newsletter explaining some of these things. You know, the fact that what you were talking about, and I know you've been working on the value to the members. I'm a frequent member because I'm on campus a great deal, but there are so many other advantages for special events. I've gone to bar mitzvahs, I've gone to weddings, I've gone to so many of the activities. And, I think that potential members don't realize the benefits of belonging to the faculty club. And the retirees, what do we pay? It's minimal. I think it's 15
I think it's
a month.
$25. I think it's $25 a month, right?
Is it 25, Andre? I don't know. I never look
It's
at my bill.
25 a month, but for the
Maybe.
emeriti to belong to the emeriti association is what, 25 a year?
Mhm. Yeah, it's 25 a year for, so each group has their own set of dues. They're both $25 a year. So that's both for retirees and emeriti.
So how many members of the emeriti association do you have?
So for they're sort of two separate groups, and I kind of want to make sure we
Please.
point that. So
I
all,
understand there's retirees that are staff,
Yeah.
but not all retirees are emeriti. Emeriti is retired faculty.
Yes.
I understand the difference.
So emeriti, there are about 600 emeriti association members. We have about 1,500 in our database. So of that 1,500, 600 are emeriti association members. Of the remaining 12,000, there's about 1,000 retiree association members. The rest
Okay,
are
so
unaffiliated.
we have a combined emeriti retiree, which I don't see the distinction right here in front of me, but I will get the distinction. But we have 424 emeriti or retiree members. So this is where I want to do some data analytics too. Like if we could all capture 1,500 members at 25 a year, does that outweigh 424 members paying $25 a month? Do you know what I mean? So like if it's $60 and they could belong to both the faculty club and the emeriti association, and we could capture 1,500 people versus 600 and 400, it might be worth doing the math to see how do we make it more affordable for people to belong to both, and then we're growing both of our membership bases because they get a benefit of belonging to the faculty club automatically by being an emeriti, and they get to belong to the Emeriti Association. Now, retirees is a little different, but there's also, the same paradigm we could follow. But the reason why I'm saying emeriti and not to exclude the retirees is just because emeriti were once active faculty, which makes sense for the faculty club. So that's where I was thinking, like, if we have such a low faculty retired faculty member base, because the dues are 10 times the amount of belonging to the Emeriti, would we be able to double or triple that number by creating a combo membership rate where instead of 25 a year, it's 30 a year to Emeriti, 30 a year for faculty club, and we get 1,000 people instead of 200.
Well,
So
but what you'd have to understand though is that the dues that and I can only speak for the retirees, but the dues that the retirees get goes to support advocacy, programming, scholarship, funding scholarships. It does a lot. So it would be difficult to forego the $25 dues, but maybe you look at a different rate level for encouraging retirees to join the faculty club. The
no,
ones
what I
that
was
live
saying
close.
is instead of 25 a year to Emeriti, and they're paying 250 a year for faculty club. So they pay $60 and they get to belong to both. And you get 30 and we get 30. It's actually $5 more than what you're getting
Oh.
now. But what I'm saying is that with 1,500 members at $30 a year, is that more than 200 members at 250 a year? So what I was thinking was, is there a way to make it more affordable for Emeriti to belong to the faculty club if that would double, triple our numbers in membership, and then it ends up being more in dues for us, because our dues are not for charitable or resources towards something. It's really we should be surviving on our dues. So the thought of lowering it is something that sounds contrary, but my thought is lowering it brings in more people and therefore would exceed the amount of having only a couple hundred Emeriti belong, paying $250 when you could get 1,000 Emeriti to belong,
I think
that was my
you'd
thought.
have to do a lot of analytics, and you'd also have to do focus group or surveys to see what was involved with that. I absolutely have no idea.
Yeah, I know. But that's part of some of the data analytics I'm doing for our board as well, is just trying, how do we increase our membership base and our dues base? Because private clubs in general, those that stand alone and don't belong to a parent company like UCLA, would you're sustaining yourself on dues. And which is why many golf clubs and other places are thousands of dollars a month to belong, and then they can afford to have a lot of amenities, which are things that you don't pay for, but that are given to members as a part of their membership. We don't have the luxury of providing a lot of amenities to our members because our dues structure is so low. Therefore, it does feel like you're nickeled and dimed when you're planning an event, because there's not a strong dues base to allow us to plan events at a more affordable cost. So that's where, if you don't have a strong dues structure, then you have to make up for it in operations. And so when you're planning an event, that's where it's like, oh, it's $25 for a tablecloth on the registration table, versus like, let's create a package that works out well and we don't have to feel like we're nickel and diming you. But then at the same time, if we can grow our membership base and create a stronger dues structure, we could give away the registration table and the tablecloth. And that's part of the luxury of belonging to a club where you pay dues.
I'd like, I don't want to put John on the spot, but the Retirees Association has done a lot of collecting demographic data. And one of the things, before you look at the fees, or in addition, John Dahl has done tremendous data analytics on our membership. And I think it would be worthwhile to look at the geographical, because again, you want to be realistic. And I think before looking at any fees, whatever, what are the possibilities? You know, when we look at, there are not that many retirees who live in Westwood Village, Brentwood, Bel Air, you know, so many people in the Valley, whether it's the Valley, whether it's San Diego. I mean, so I think please look at the demographics, geographical demographics.
I agree with that. And I think we need to do the same with alumni, because alumni are allowed to belong to the faculty club too. But the fact is that many people move away after they go to university. And so why would they want to join? So that's where I think that we need to become the destination for reunions and other social gatherings that bring people back to the university either annually or biannually, and that we do well on those kind of events, so that we still, I think important thing is to tie people's hearts to the campus and the club, and then they'll come back on those special occasions when you can have something that's meaningful for them to return to campus for. But you're right, it's hard to ask people to pay even $25 a year if they don't live within 30 miles. So there's a lot of things that we need to take in consideration when we're talking about growing both of our memberships and participation bases. So it's one thing to belong, and of course the best members are those that pay dues and don't cost us anything in participation, but that's not what we actually want. We want engaged members of our community. So I think, Aisha and I are probably on the same mission of how to grow membership, but also how to engage membership. That's really important.
Parking is also a difficulty too.
However, I did have a meeting with transportation and events, because they do provide parking codes. So when you do have an event, you can give out a code to all attendees and then they can park. It's not necessarily at a discount, but I have also talked to them about, is there a way to rent the parking lot A after hours or on the weekends to provide weddings and other special events parking that's right there next to our club. So they're working on that, although not sure if it's going to be the cheapest parking, but they are considering allowing us to rent the lot out after hours. And that means actually reserving spaces for your event so that there's adequate parking, and at least for the people who it's convenient to, especially since the Emeriti retirees and a lot of the members of the faculty club are in an age-specific group that would benefit from having closer parking.
Transportation has done that in the past in Lot A.
Yes, but I think it hasn't been addressed maybe since the
it's a long time ago.
pandemic, so we need to bring it up again.
Yeah.
I have a question. If you want to, if you want to talk about this, I have some other comments, but I don't think we probably want to work the issue too much in this conversation. But I do have another question, and that is, what do you have now, and or what is in the future regarding hybrid meetings, as far as what is the faculty center doing as far as upgrading technology? If we have hybrid meetings, what can you provide? What can't you provide? What might you provide in the future? What you're thinking along that line, because all of our meetings are going to sort of be technologically challenged.
Yes, so we just started using for our regular Board of Governors meeting the Zoom Owl, which is a 360-degree camera, and it can be used in meeting rooms up to 20, 30, 40 people, depending. I've seen it used with larger groups, although it works perfectly for say 20 and under. But it basically rotates, it's sound activated and rotates to the person who's speaking. It shows 3 people at a time, and it's afforded us to have our Board of Governors meetings hybrid as well. There are some television monitors out there that actually have Zoom capability built into them, reducing the need for a laptop computer that we're looking into as well. They're quite costly, but I think we make our money back on it. I did have a company that I used over at the California Club come in and help train our on-site tech about streaming speakers onto Zoom. So we actually had Earth Space Science who streamed one of their lectures over internationally. So it was live streaming, and we had the capability of doing that. So we're working on it. I think it's a combination of training as well as investing in the equipment. But we know that there is a need. We started with the OWL. We could purchase more of those if we have more Zoom meetings going on at one time. I think part of it is also educating who's planning the meetings to understand the technology to be able to offer the correct equipment for your meeting needs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was curious, I recall back in the day, there was someone that was working on the newsletter. Is that gonna probably come back in the future, or, because I get your updates, but I don't know if there's gonna be a formalized.
Yeah, we've talked on the board, or at least on the executive committee level, about doing a quarterly newsletter instead of monthly. Since we're doing the weekly updates, it kind of keeps people up to date. But the quarterly newsletter would be an opportunity for the heads of committees to write articles, as well as I know that they were featuring fun things like a chef's recipe and some other things, as well as a letter from the president and the general manager. So we are looking into that. Right now, I have not filled the position of marketing by choice, because we're also trying to rebuild the business. And my biggest concern is making sure this chef has all the staff he needs, and that Ramon and Betty have all the service staff they need, which to me is more important than not more important than marketing, but more important than filling the role of a marketing director, since I right now have some skill to be able to send out the weekly newsletter, and I actually can do the quarterly newsletter as well. The main issue is that we haven't formulated our committees yet. We're right in the middle of an election, so I think once leadership turns and we get all of our committees established again, we'll be able to have contributors to a newsletter, because it's hard to do without having everybody, write their own pieces, because you want it to be meaty. And so it shouldn't just come from one source of someone writing it. It needs to come from all the different committee members or leaders. We just don't have.
I'm gonna ask selfishly. So when we do programs at the faculty club, we do open them up to all retirees, whether or not they're retiree members or not, because as the ERRC, our goal is to be an advocate for all retirees, not just members. Is there a way we could get a blurb when you send out your, do you announce your events that are open to the public, or is it just for members-centric folks?
Are you talking about the weekly updates?
Or anything. So if we have an event like we had those lectures, the after lunch lectures, we do open them up to anyone that wants to come. Are we able to get into your weekly updates as
if
an
they're
event?
open to any of the faculty club members, whether they're retirees or not, I'd be happy to help promote those events. If it is specific to, a member only of being with the Emeriti or the Retirees Association, we should talk about it. But I'm always happy to help promote, as long as the board's okay with me doing that. I think it should be fine. I think that Emeriti and Faculty Women's in particular are the two other associations we would happily endorse, because of the history and the fact that the faculty club was based on both of those associations in existence well before we were. So I don't think the board would have it, but I would like to at least toss it by them, because it's, well, we have Ann here that's part of it right now, but I think I just want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing, because I'm all for this symbiotic relationship of partnering with people, especially with the Emeriti and the Faculty Women's Club. So I just want to get their blessing, and then I'd be happy to work with you on putting blurbs in, or if you have flyers and I can get JPEGs of them and we can put them inside our newsletter. I mean, the weekly, I'd be happy to help out with that.
Okay, great. Thank
And
you.
vice versa. If we have an event like we're coming up with on, I think it's not quite official, but December 13th, I'm working again with the Herb Alpert School of Music. They're going to put on a complimentary jazzy jingle fest for us, and it's all holiday music with brass instruments and percussions, and it's going to be really fun. If we can reverse that, and I can give you a flyer to hand out to your association and invite them to come, then I think that is a great way to partner with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. We send a newsletter out twice a month. Our next one's going out tomorrow because of the holiday. But yeah, as I get emails from you, so anything that I can find that's time wise for our newsletter, we'll be glad to
Sure.
submit it.
Okay, let's do it.
Any other questions?
Are we good? Yes.
Judith.
Yeah, Aisha, I'm curious about something. You just said that everyone was welcome to the after lunch program.
Well, if they register on the website, because it's open to the public on the retirees website, so anyone can register.
I see. I thought it was a membership benefit for RA and EA. Okay.
Not that
Well,
I've
Those are the groups that exercise that most often. But if somebody walks by and sees what's going on in that room over there, we try. Aisha has been the one doing most of the check-in, so she tries to capture which
How do they
participants
pay?
attend. Pardon me?
How do they pay if they're not a member of either?
Well, that's the whole point.
There is
They
no
don't.
charge for that program. The
Oh,
after lunch quote conversations that we have now instituted this year are at no charge to anyone right now.
But we promote this as a benefit for being a member of the RA and the EA, don't we?
I think these, as far as I was concerned, the after lunch programs have always been put on by EA and RA, but open to, I mean, otherwise it would only be in your newsletters. When I send things out in the widely seen ERRC bi-monthly, that goes to everyone that's not a member. It goes to.
But you include things that are just member driven only, such as the holiday party. So I guess I've been under a misunderstanding all this time. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Well,
Something to think about.
Yeah, so things like the holiday party, I always try to put, you must be a member to register. And when you log on to the website, you can't just register, you have to log in as a member. So there is that kind of gatekeeping for those who are non-members.
Right. So this is open to anybody, and we promote it, for example, to the Women's Faculty Club, the after lunch program.
If they are in my database, which most of the Faculty Women's Club are, then yes.
All right. Thank you.
I mean, I don't think there's anything that prevents anybody from going onto our website, and if they click on events and they see an after lunch program.
They can see it, but they cannot join unless they're logged in as a member. Oh, sorry.
No.
My bad. So for like the holiday party, they can see it, but they cannot log on and go to the holiday party unless they're a member. But for all the public events, they're public.
Yeah, they just have to supply an email address.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And that's why our contact base is swelling in a way.
There's over 2,000 some odd contacts, but the member base is different.
But do you differentiate between those who are associated with campus at all? I mean, are you saying that like anybody can go to those meetings?
People generally, so my database, I do have a Friends of the ERRC subset, and those are like my colleagues from Wise and Healthy Aging, Belmont, other partnerships in the aging field. And they've come to some events. They don't come to many, but like we do a lot of things with Belmont, but those who attend need to have some kind of affiliation. They usually fill out the registration form with their affiliation, their name and email. It's, you know, if someone wants to come down from UC Berkeley because they're in town for this event, they may not be in my database, but they can for sure look at the website and register. We do ask for an affiliation, and we do have some checks and balances to verify people are somehow affiliated with the campus.
Got it. Okay, that was my concern. I was just wondering if anyone could sign up. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we have
go ahead,
we have
Michael.
levels of registration. Everyone, members only, and a third one, which I can't recall, but
Affiliate.
there is a affiliates. There is a filter on our registration for programs that the RA generates. The joint programs, the conversations are basically open to everyone.
I think the idea behind that is to generate, you know, when I have my booth there, I have flyers, I have brochures. I'm taking people's names as they attend. And we will do a better job in the future of, you know, capturing those people post-event to send them an email. We normally send them the recording or pictures, but if they're not a member, we want to be able to say, hey, you know, we noticed you came to this event. Would you are interested in becoming a member? So that's an opportunity that we have as well.
Great.
I have another question. You sort of prompted my curiosity on something. You were talking about benefits to members. So I've been a member of the Faculty Center for a long time. I've also had some, I guess, direct communication, direct coordination with the Faculty Center in other ways too. But when you said benefits, I got thinking that even though I kept my membership going, there really isn't a whole lot of benefit to me individually, except to be able to come to lunch. And I enjoy that an awful lot, but being not on campus, it is, you know, it's an effort or whatever. And I do have parking, so that's not an issue for me. But I guess I was thinking, what more in benefits could you provide to members like me that would encourage us to really want to be a member? And I guess I'm thinking now back on your experience with, what is it, the California Club and your other place. I mean, what other benefits might you provide to us as members? I mean, I know I can come to you and reserve a room or something like that, but normally a member wouldn't do that. So I guess I'm just thinking, what other benefits would kind of tweak my interest?
Well, I think that's the big question, and that's the question that I'm trying to figure out as well, because so I came from two different clubs. The first club I came from was the beach club. Many benefits to membership. You have the beach, you have volleyball, you have paddle tennis, you have, you know, the dining services. You can sponsor your friends to have events there. In that case, you know, we relied on private function business, but mostly dues to sustain ourselves. At the California Club, there was not much recreational value other than we had a private gym that people could work out in with no extra dues costs. They just used it. And then we had dining. So I think at a city club, which is very much what the faculty club is you have to ask yourself, like, what are the benefits to membership besides paying dues to come and pay to eat here? So whether that's, maybe there should be, maybe for non-members, prices should be higher so that you do feel like you have a benefit to paying dues here. Maybe room fees and private parties should be more expensive for people who are not members here that are able to use the facility, and the members get benefits. There's another thought too, that because we are now drawing on a limited amount of clientele because of the fact that you have to be a member to join here. If you were to open the doors and serve campus, this club is bifurcated, actually trifurcated. It's in actually 3 sections. So you could make a member section if you wanted to, like the beautiful garden patio and the playa are for members only. The dining room and the buffet is now open to serve a larger clientele and therefore increase your revenue base. So I'm not quite sure. I don't have the answer, and I think that's one of the answers that we have to, questions we have to answer in the study that I'm doing for the Board of Governors, which is like, what is the, when they say membership has its privileges, that's like a, that's like a famous line. What is it that distinguishes a member from a non-member walking in the door when it does feel like a regular business serving people lunch? So then the question is, it doesn't need to be private, but faculty say, I don't want grad students, I don't want undergrads there. So then, yes, it does need to be private. But then if you want, privacy has its costs. And so, but you're not paying enough in dues to actually have the amenities that a private club can offer by keeping grad students out, the regular, people out. You've got 2 philosophies here. One is we want a private club for faculty, alumni, and senior staff, but we don't want to pay for it. And so and I'm not trying to criticize, I'm just saying that this is the dilemma that I've been faced with, is how do you make money at a club that doesn't have a strong dues structure, but then operationally there's only so many rooms we can rent and then so much staff that's associated. So the more you increase your operations, the more you also increase your overhead to run those hours. So your profit margin is only going to be so much as you keep moving through, like having more and more and more functions. Really, the privileges of membership comes from dues. So then you say to yourself, why would people pay more to belong to the faculty club unless they're getting something that's exclusively for them? And some of that is, at a private club, most staff know everybody's names. We do have trouble learning people's names. There's just a massive amount of people that come here every day. You can't distinguish between a member and a non-member. And a lot of people go by their first names and don't even, distinguish themselves as far as like what department they come from. So it's hard, because where I come from, we always address people by their title. Of course, nowadays you can't say Mrs., Ms., or Mr. because you don't know if people call themselves Mr., Miss, or Mr. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but I'm just saying that, so the first name basis is something that we need to learn. But even our staff that have been here for 20 or 30 years don't know some of the members' names. So there's a cultural part to it. There's strategy. There's also, just financial structure that we have to work on. And so, but I think part of it is because we haven't defined, what do you want? Do you want to be an exclusive club to faculty, alumni, retirees, and staff, and then they pay for that exclusivity? Or do we want to serve a larger clientele, and then that's why it's an affordable place to belong? So I don't know the answer as far as that. We need to find our lane, because part of it too is there's a lot of anger about Luskin and this and that. But the fact is, there's plenty of business for everyone if we find our lane. If we can truly define ourselves as to why it's such a special place to be, I think people would be okay paying a little bit more for that exclusivity of having it be a place where everyone with like minds and like interests can belong. And then it's not a place for grad students, undergrads, and the general public.
Yeah, quickly, I'm just going to say, I think one of your maybe issues is that the new faculty coming on board, the assistants, the associates probably aren't joining the faculty club like years and decades ago either.
I wonder if clubdom, I mean, I wonder if that's a problem in any club as far as generations go. And, younger clientele, younger members have always been something that member-based places have been trying to attract. Part of it's because you figure the average age of a club is when you start to have money that you can burn, because it's a luxury to join a club. It's, so at a younger age, or when you're starting out, you don't have the extra money to join a club. And so maybe with newer faculty too, it might be the same thing, where their priorities are family, having kids, doing whatever, and it's not about that. So this is why also demographically you see the ideal age at the faculty club are those who can afford it. And so it's very typical, I think, in any club to have a general average age of when spending is ideal. And sometimes it's not at the younger beginning of your life. It's more mid towards the.
Marion, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
I have a question. I'm not sure it's a question. I think it's more of a comment. Little history. So when I came onto campus, I was pretty young, and there was a bar and there was a piano, which is now available again. For years that was shuttered, but now it's there. And we used to hang out after work, and there was a billiards room where we could play. I shot my first pool. I wasn't good at it. And there's a library. Of course, I'm a librarian by training. But in any event, there was also the case that on campus, there was only one place where you could get alcohol. And that was the faculty center.
Yeah. I think times have changed. And
so things have changed because some of, time passing, people leaving.
But those things sound like, those things that Marion is suggesting sound like great ideas on an occasional basis to bring people in to enjoy the facilities.
Absolutely. But,
so, and the thing is, I think, okay, as far as attracting younger faculty or younger staff for that matter, we're being a little bit more inclusive now, which is maybe a good thing. We didn't have to, there was a tiered structure to how we paid for activities at the club, or now that it was a center. And just the fact that it was convenient. I mean, it was close to where we worked. We didn't have to go off campus. We didn't have to get in a car, drive anywhere. 5 o'clock traffic is terrible. It's always been terrible. So it was, a bit of a hangout for us. And we didn't do it every day, but we did on occasion.
Marion, I was there. I started when I was 28.
I was
26. We used to go for happy hour downstairs.
Exactly. And they had munchies, just inexpensive munchies. And Steve Fry played the piano. He was a music librarian.
Yeah.
And, it was fun. So, then I'm married and I had children, and I didn't go, and we moved away from, farther away from campus. But anyway, time changing, but I'm just saying some of the features that the club had or the center had, the pandemic was a 2-year remodeling project, and things that had been shuttered are now reopened, and you're publicizing what's available. I think it takes time, a bit of time to rebuild and offer new things that have been tried in the past. Maybe.
I agree. I also think that it's not a large, as far as the alcohol goes, I'd love to push that, because I talk about profit margin. That's where you're going to make a lot of your money. But I think it's a macro issue to just people don't drink the way they used to in the 80s and the 90s. They're just not, people are not, especially on campus, I think it's a larger issue than just attracting people to come down and have a drink. They might have a drink, but I don't know if people are, we've seen it across the board about people, drinking. Also, there's not a lot of nightlife here at the club, so or on campus in general. So my question is, do we capitalize on daytime activity, and where is it? But if again, a private club can open for 20 or 30 people at dinner, if you have the dues subsidizing that, and we don't. So I think that it's a dilemma right now, because you want to be something for everyone, but when you do the math, opening for 10 or 12 people down in the sherry bar at night is a little bit unaffordable. And when we're pulling in maybe $500,000 to $600,000 in dues a year, and our payroll runs close to 2 million. So just payroll alone is eating up our dues, and then we have to make it up in operations. So it's a big mathematical dilemma that we have to figure out how to do, because there's so many ways where we want to serve people and provide amenities. And I keep saying amenities because these are not profit centers. Your profit center is what Amal is doing with private events and booking the rooms and the fees that come from that, and then the profit obviously from selling food and beverage with that. But regular business, the restaurant business, the buffet is very well, but like dining business and opening the sherry bar for a few people a night is definitely not a profit center. It is more of an amenity.
Yeah, I agree. Part of it, I think, what you're facing is what a lot of other areas in the city is that people are working virtually. So there are not as many people working on campus. What Mary and I were talking about, that people would go there like 4 to 6 to avoid traffic on the 405. But that is when everyone was working on campus. I don't know what percentage are now working virtually, but I think that also affects, afternoon or evening. We just don't have the same number of people.
Well, the other impact, since you brought that up, the other very big impact was when so many of us moved down to the Wilshire Center building and the Gailey Center. I mean, you're down on Wilshire Boulevard and you're not going to come back to campus. I mean, I went to the faculty center almost every noontime to have lunch. And then we moved down to the Wilshire Center building, and that's not
now there's the Oppenheimer, the Gailey Center.
So I think we have time for just one final question. I want to respect Andrea's time so that she could go with other busy things. So any final comments or questions we can do here?
Meet again too. I'm happy to read. We should continually continue this dialogue. It's helpful for me as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with our retirees and Emeriti here. So we'll be glad to, see you at the Faculty Center. We have a couple events the next month, so I'll be there. And we'll see you.
As will I.
Yep. Okay.
Great.
Right,
well, you and I will talk. Okay. Take care, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
And have a great Thanksgiving, y'all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You too, Michael, and everyone else. Take care. Bye.
Bye.